The first narration was presented by Ms. Farah Banks. The second narration was delivered by Ms. Kellyanne Adams. Our third narrative was presented by Ms. Brittany Christopher. Sandra's friend Penny was played by Ms. Shamira Brooks Santana. Please welcome our resident doctor, Dr. Berryman, played by Ms. Aliana Gums. Our title poem, The Cage Bird, was presented by Mrs. Casilda Thomas Brooks and Ms. Aliqua Gums. Aliqua Gums. Lamentations of a Battered Woman was delivered by Ms. Susan Hodge. Marjorie Davis was played by Ms. Shadira Ford. The part of Robert Lewis was played by Mr. Kasim Ford. The character Gordon Davis was played by Mr. Ken Banks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the antagonist, the perpetrator in tonight's production, please welcome Mr. Malcolm Webster. Now, the battered woman and the star of tonight's production, our cage bird, who is now free, please let's welcome Miss Khalida Banks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who needs no introduction, our director and playwright. Please let's welcome Mr. Felix Fleming. Ladies and gentlemen, the cast and crew of The Caged Bird. Let's give it up. I'm putting the message into action by patiently responding to you while I want to eat my Johnny cake. And that is to, I guess, learn to control yourself. Know that violence is never the answer, and nobody deserves to be abused. That is the message, and that we as a community need to speak out if we at any time, wherever, whenever, see someone experiencing abuse, and we need to speak out against it.
What I learned is do not stay with an abusive man, and when you have your wings to fly, because once it's clipped in your cage, it'd be a hard time to be set free. So once you have your wings, take the opportunity and fly away once you can.
I have learned that collaboration is key. I have learned that we need to break the silence because there are too many things that are going on in the dark that affect people, that affect society. I think that the play was a wonderful play. It exposed so many things because people think that domestic violence is just within the rooms or the walls of the home, but it just shows that it can affect your job, it can affect so many other things, and that's what I learned.
Thank you.
I've learned that even if you are a bystander at someone being abused, that you should talk up, that you should not just let it carry on because it gets worse as it goes on. And what I've taken from the character Sandra is that she has been delusional a few times, but it's very important to realize that you don't deserve to be treated a certain way and to stand up for yourself. So I was very inspired by the ending, how she discovered that this is not for her, that she deserves better, and she left the situation boldly, which I will take on today.
Okay, thank you.
I learned that I can memorize 15 minutes worth of lines. And I learned a lot about the topic of domestic abuse, and it really brought a lot of things to the forefront of my mind to look out for and to just play my part in the community. So yeah, that was my whole learning process.
Okay, thank you.
Play is about domestic violence and the way that it can affect entire families, entire communities, parents, children, your neighbors, your teachers, and it's something that we all need to open our eyes to. It seems like sometimes we turn a blind eye, not sometimes, oftentimes we turn a blind eye to things that could be going on right under our noses. It's a very serious issue. Obviously, you can see it can cause medical issues, it can have mental issues for the person that the person or persons who have been affected, and it's something that we really need to tackle. Persons need to get help, and if you see something, say something, and try your best to offer help to the person, trying to make sure you're keeping yourself safe and keeping them safe at the same time. Don't allow domestic violence to enter into your home, into your family. Keep your friends safe, keep your children aware, and just talk to each other and be open and honest and be able to try to guide persons into the right direction where they can get help.
Okay, what did I learn from the play? Trying to think of what I learned from the play. I can't really pinpoint an exact answer, but I would say maybe you learn how abuse is like. It's a wider range of, what abuse is, like verbal, stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I already had known that, but the play really kind of sends this message, I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah, the play was nice. It was nice to connect with people. I mean, I joined in October, but it was really nice to connect and learn together. You know what I mean?
Received from the play was that you don't have to stay in that state of bondage, whether it's mental, emotionally, physically, psychologically, economically, as we've heard in the play. But there's always freedom, and as an abuse victim, it's hard to see that, but someone will show you that there's a way. There will be a light in all of the darkness, and I just believe that when the person is freed, when you actually tell the story of abuse and how you overcome and how you survive, it frees others, because we would never know what situation we'll be placed in until we're in it. And we will never know how we will respond until we're actually in the situation. So knowing that persons have been there and what they've done, and the information now that is revealed through our awareness, I would say this play is somewhat of a help to those persons who have not known what they should have done when they were abused. So I just believe it's just freedom and everything. It may not look like it would get better, but better days are coming, and you no longer have to be bound to this belief that you're, I guess, a nobody, or the thoughts that have been now chained you to this image of being an abused victim or abused person. That you can be free and find a new identity.
The play really focused on the culture of silence and inaction that we see in our community traditionally. When there's violence in the home, persons in the community would, turn their backs. They will see it as just that family issue. The play really calls out that tradition that we've had, that culture that we've had, and I think it really brings to the forefront the fact that violence impacts everybody. Whether you're a child or a man or a woman, that once there's violence, that we all have some sort of implications for each one of us, and that we all have our own role that we can play in eliminating it from our communities. For me, the play was very telling because it really showcased that not just women are exposed to violence. As you can see with the character, Mr. Robert Lewis, he shared in the play his experiences as a child growing up and experiencing abuse. It also showcases that it does not matter your status in life. We saw our main character, Sandra, as the main abuse victim, but you also saw where there's a doctor who would have indicated that she too would have suffered abuse. So I think that each of us, everyone who sees the play, can take away something from the play. I think that hopefully the play will, cause persons to ponder on the issue of domestic violence in our community, that it would cause persons to think and go, this is something that I, in my own little way, can, work on addressing. If I see something, then I can speak up, I can say something. The play also brings to the forefront that there is support available in Anguilla, so we do have our safe hotline where persons can call 7233 if they're experiencing abuse, if they know of somebody who's experiencing abuse and they want to report it, particularly where children are involved, because as a play highlight, when it comes down to children, there are certain persons in our community, they are mandated to report, and there are support there in terms of the Department of Social Development and all the other respective partners who work along with the Gender Affairs Unit to provide support to our survivors. So really would encourage everybody to see the play at some point. We'll put it out to the public so the persons can view it on our social media pages. But for me, this was a really wonderful experience, and I think that we have met our objective in terms of bringing to the forefront some of the issues in our community that, as it pertains to domestic violence, and as it pertains to really challenging some of those norms that we have as it relates to speaking out and speaking up, as it relates to saying, okay, this is not just a woman's issue, or this is not just that husband and wife, but there's implications for everybody in society, and everybody can do their own small little part in terms of speaking out and calling out violence. So.
Go.
What I gather from the play is that we as men, we can do more to support women, especially women that have been through abuse, or have been abused themselves, or have seen abuse. We can do more with talking to our male friends, whether that's at a dominoes table, at the cards, playing cards for them, but we as men, we can do more to help support those victims in need.
The message that I got from this play is that persons who are being abused, or if someone knows that someone else is being abused, that they must not remain silent. Because the silence is what keeps the abuse to continue through cycles of generations from generations. So it is important for everybody to use their voice in order to make sure that we can try to end abuse at any time to save a life.
Domestic violence is everybody's business, and I think we all need to if we see something, say something, and not allow it to perpetuate, because it destroys families, it destroys people, especially have an impact on children, and we need to help them grow to be, rounded citizens, and when they witness violence, that is perpetuated further down in another generation. So we need to ensure that it is something when we see it, we say something, and ensure that it's rooted out.
I got from the play is to be alert and to be aware, because there are many people in Anguilla suffering with abuse, and there are even people in high places, but they are just quiet about it and they have a mask, they hide behind the mask. But I want people to speak up about it, speak more about it, so that this violence, abuse could be less or reduced in Anguilla.